What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're talking about Super Rugby, how the tournament went from one of the best in the sport to one of the worst. It's an utter mess. It is not attended very well by the fans, people hardly watching it even on the TVs. It's just gone from something special to something overplayed. And the reason of it is because one, a conference system, two, too many teams. Others say it's dominated by New Zealand, others say certain teams are too weak. There's so many ways to look around at this tournament, and unfortunately over the past 3-4 years, 5 years, World Rugby, SANZAAR, whoever, have tried to shake things up, bring new teams like the Sunwolves, like the Jaguars. We've experimented with the Kings, removing them, and the Cheetahs, Western Force in and out, Melbourne Rebels introduced, and unfortunately all these changes sound exciting and looked good, but it didn't do much. What it did do was develop Japanese rugby, which was great. It gave Argentinian rugby the boost it needed. So it did help the sport and those nations develop. But it destroyed the tournament because it was just too long. We had 15 teams that some were great, some were dominant, but then you had other teams that just weren't performing and not to the caliber of what we used to. Now, way back when we had Super 12 rugby, it was insane. The level of intensity was there. The competitiveness was there. The support was there. Then I went to Super 14, and even Super 14 was still exciting when the Cheetahs got introduced, and I think it was Western Force or the Rebels then, and it just got a little, I think it was Western Force, and it got a little bit more exciting, and the tournament was there to fight. And then they experimented a bit too much by getting Japan and Argentina in. Now, although it's great, I loved having Argentina apart, it was great having Japan apart, it just made the tournament a little bit long. Now, COVID-19 has taken the sport away from us, and it has damaged the tournament, but it's given the likes of SANZAAR and World Rugby an opportunity to rethink things on how they're going to approach the sport, how they're going to utilize the sport in a way to bring the fans back. Now, what inspired this idea for me was Rugby Australia announcing a Super 8 suggestion tournament, where all teams play at provincial level or trans-Tasman or whatever it may be. And the top two teams of each respective tournament go in and play each other in like a final type tournament. So you got two from New Zealand, you got two from Australia, you got two from South Africa, you got one from South America, and you got one from the Japanese rugby tournament. That makes sense. That could be extremely exciting. And even with those tournaments like the South American, Japan, you can combine a team. Or maybe that doesn't make sense, because if you combine a team, then it's not really the best of the best. But still, you can figure out a way on how to deal with those two teams. But by bringing us, what they could do is a combined South American team, like the Jaguars, for example, and bring something massive and competitive to excite the world. Japan, you've got this league that is progressing into something big with top names who have currently been playing over there. Combine them. It doesn't matter where they're from. It doesn't matter who they're playing for. If they're playing for the Japanese league, bring them in and create a team that can be competitive in a Southern Hemisphere tournament. And then you call it Super 8 or Super Rugby 8, whatever it may be. That way you're not having too many teams. That way you're not having teams that aren't strong enough to compete with the likes of New Zealand's finest, Australia's finest, or South Africa's finest. You have an equal balance of teams that probably could still get dominated by the Crusaders, but it's reduced and it's exciting. Because currently right now what we've been witnessing is conference systems. So our South African teams play each other a lot, and then that affects Super Currie Cup, which has currently died down in the sport. So no one's really interested anymore in a historic tournament like the Currie Cup. So take away Super Rugby and put more focus on Currie Cup, and spice that tournament up. And this goes for your Mitre 10 Cups, whatever Australia play provincially, your South America, your Japan, and you spice those provincial tournaments up and create something unique. From there, those top teams play for the South, and then World Rugby needs to turn on a light bulb and go, the top team of the South tournament play the North team of the South tournament, and then we can see who the best in World Rugby is provincially. It will bring the tournament to the fans. What they could do, because the whole talk is travel arrangements. South Africa traveling to New Zealand, New Zealand traveling to South Africa, time difference, all that jazz. Who says we need to travel? Why not every year you host it at a different country? South Africa can host a tournament. New Zealand can host a tournament. South America can host a tournament. Japan can host a tournament. Australia, you know, we can all, each respective nation in this tournament can host it 1 year at a time. Now I know it sucks for the sake of but then it's a whole tournament with no games in South Africa, or a whole tournament with no games in New Zealand. Have the stadiums been filled? No. Have they been filled for Super Rugby Aotearoa, and have they been filled for Super Rugby AU? Okay, COVID-19 has affected it a little bit, but Auckland was breaking records. We were seeing exciting results, and I feel if we take Super Rugby away, bring in a Super 8 tournament, focus on your provincial tournaments like the Currie Cup, Mitre 10, Australia, etc., you're going to create that passion and love for the game again. If 2021 comes and we go back to where we were from the start, it's going to be a failure, and it's going to get even worse. Now is the time where we have the opportunity to take this sport and to spice it up the right way. I strongly believe, I know there's focus on Trans-Tasman, and I know New Zealand wants a tournament. Nothing's stopping that happening. But we're looking at the fighting of New Zealand and Australia, the leaving out of South Africa, the Argentinas, who's also been forgotten, Japan, no one knows what to do except for World Rugby. Do this. Spice it up. Create something unique and special. And we will then have a phenomenal solution in place that can bring the game of Southern Hemisphere rivalry back to the fans. I'm going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.